would you respond to how are you in English? I'll give you 3 useful 一言ママ phrases you can start using today. Hi, I'm Keiko from English-Empowered. In the 一言ママ phrase lessons, I introduce you to useful English expressions that are natural and appropriate for professional settings. My wish is also to help you learn respectful communication styles so you can build good relationships and trust with your colleagues. Practice using mama phrases with me, and you'll become a fluent speaker and a valued member of your workplace. Before we start, let me give you a few reminders. 1. Have a pen and a sticky note ready. And participate actively by repeating after me and practicing saying the mama phrases in the output training. Are you ready? Let's get started. This week's target expression is, how are you? Now take out a piece of a sticky note and write this down at the top. If you use English at work, you hear this a million times throughout the day. When you see someone at the beginning of the day, when you walk into someone's office, when you see someone in Zoom meetings, you say, "Hi, so-and-so, how are you?" And you use it with anyone, your boss, your colleagues, your subordinates, your clients, and people you don't know very well. And of course, your friends and family outside work. Now, this is something many non-native speakers of English are not aware of. How are you is part of a greeting. When people see someone, they automatically say, "Hi, how are you?" So just like other greeting expressions, you can show your respect to the other person and maintain good relationships by saying it and responding appropriately. Now, there are other expressions you might hear instead of how are you. They are, how are you doing? It's a little bit more casual than how are you. How's it going? Again, people don't really think about it when they say these expressions, so the it in how's it going doesn't refer to anything specific. But you could say it means life in general, your work, or your day. How are things? Just like how's it going, it's asking about your general status. You could say things means things that are happening in your life. All of these are extremely common. You might be wondering about expressions like what's up or what's going on. These are a bit more casual and they're not commonly used in professional settings. So I decided to explain how to respond to what's up and other casual expressions in my blog. So check that out if you're interested. If you're a Japanese person who grew up in Japan, I'm sure you've learned how to respond to how are you? How do you respond? You got it. I'm fine, thank you. And you? That's what textbooks teach us. I used it myself when I was learning English in Japan. But I'm fine, thank you. And you? It's really not the best response to how are you? Because 1, it's not natural. You will never hear a native speaker of English saying, "I'm fine, thank you, and you?" And 2, it can actually sound negative or rude. It's true. Let me give you a little more explanation. First of all, fine is not very positive. You're not great, you're only okay. You want to stay positive in professional settings, so fine is not the best word choice. Also, when you say, I'm fine, you usually mean I'm okay, so I don't need whatever it is that you're offering. So for example, if a salesperson at a store keeps talking to you saying, how about this one? I have this one right here too. You might say, I'm fine, thank you. Meaning, I'm good, I don't need your help. Or if your teenage daughter is in a bad mood and you say to her, hey, is everything okay? Do you want to talk about it? She might say, I'm fine, and run into her room and slam the door shut. What she's really telling you is, I don't need your help. Leave me alone. So if you get the tone wrong and say it like, I'm fine, it can sound like you're bothering me. Stop talking. That wouldn't be good. So if I'm fine, thank you, and you is your go-to response to how are you, you might want to switch it to something more natural and something more positive. Then what is an appropriate response to how are you? What do native speakers of English say? Before looking at this week's 一言まま phrases, here are 2 things you should remember when you respond to how are you. Number 1, how are you is a greeting, not a question. As we've discussed earlier, how are you is part of a greeting. Same thing as hi, hello. It does take the question form, but it's not expecting a detailed answer. You don't have to tell them how you are really feeling. So when a colleague of yours says, hey, how are you? If you start going, well, my performance review didn't go well. My boss doesn't think I'm a good leader. They'll be like, whoa, that's kind of personal. And that might make them feel bad and uncomfortable. So don't share all the personal details. Treat how are you as a greeting. And number 2, ask the question back. One good thing about the Japanese brain response, I'm fine, thank you, and you, is that it asks about the other person at the end. And that's a polite thing to do. The rule of thumb in professional communication is, if someone asks about you, ask the question back. Now let's take a look at this week's 3 一言まま phrases. When someone at work asks you, how are you? Here are 3 natural and professional phrases you can use to respond. 一言まま phrase number 1. Good, how are you? Write this down on your sticky note. Now repeat after me. Good, how are you? Good, how are you? Simple, right? But this is a very common response to how are you. It's simple, but still professional. If you want to stop saying, I'm fine, thank you, and you, good, how are you, will be a good starting point. And because now you're asking about them, emphasize you, like, how are you? One more time. Good, how are you? Great. 一言まま phrase number 2. Great, thank you. How about you? Write it down on your sticky note. Now repeat. Great, thank you. How about you? Great, thank you. How about you? Good or great, either one works. And I know Japanese people are polite, so you might feel like saying thank you to the other person for asking you how you're feeling. Then you can say it after great. And instead of repeating the same question, how are you, you can change it up a little bit and say, how about you? One more time. Great, thank you. How about you? Nice job. Now, 一言ママ phrase number 3. Couldn't be better. How about yourself? Write it down on your sticky note. Now repeat. Couldn't be better. How about yourself? Couldn't be better. How about yourself? This is another common phrase you would hear from a native speaker. Couldn't be better means it would be impossible for the subject to be better. So it basically means great, fantastic, perfect. And how about yourself is another way of saying, how about you? When you say couldn't be better, the T sound is dropped, like couldn't be better. Now let's say the entire mama phrase together one more time. Couldn't be better. How about yourself? Excellent. As we saw earlier, there are many ways of saying how are you. There's how are you doing? How's it going? How are things? And if you look closely, they have different subjects. You, it, and things. And they use different grammatical forms. So if you try to answer these questions grammatically using full sentences, it will quickly get complicated. Like, how are you? I am good. How are you doing? I'm doing well. How's it going? It's going well. How are things? Things are good. You might think, that's too much for just a greeting. Now look at the 一言ママ phrases I showed you. There are no subjects, meaning you can use them for any of these expressions without worrying about grammar. If you want to sound very formal, you can try answering in full sentences. But this week's 3 一言ママ phrases sound formal enough and appropriate for work. So practice these mama phrases and you'll be good to go. Here's an おまけまま phrase that might also come in handy. Living the dream. Repeat after me. Living the dream. Living the dream. Living the dream means everything's going great. You're living a perfect life. Remember, you want to be positive in professional settings. You can't be more positive than this. It's kind of a funny, exaggerated way of saying great. And not many non-native speakers of English know it. So if you want to say something different, try this one. I'm sure it'll lighten up the mood. One more time. Living the dream. Perfect. So again, this week's 3 一言ママ phrases are: Good, how are you? Great, thank you. How about you? Couldn't be better. How about yourself? Keep the sticky note with you. Now it's time for the output training. You're going to hear this week's target expression or similar expressions that serve the same function. Then you're going to use one of the mama phrases you've learned today to respond. Since they're pretty simple, you will have 3 seconds after each expression. Ready? Let's start. How are you? How's it going? How are things? Hey, how are you doing? Hi there, how's everything? For the last 3, try without looking at the sticky note. Ready? How are things going? How's it going? Hi, how are you? How did it go? Keep practicing, and these phrases will be yours. In this lesson, you'll learn how to respond to how are you naturally and professionally. Let's review the 3 一言mama phrases we went over today. Good, how are you? Great, thank you. How about you? Couldn't be better. How about yourself? You did a great job today. Now put the sticky note with these mama phrases somewhere you see often. On your laptop, on your cell phone, on your office desk, and use them throughout the week. The key is to use them. Let me know in the comment section which one of the mama phrases you like the best. If you go to English-Empowered blog, you will find how to respond to what's up, what's going on, and some other casual expressions. I put the link in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me. See you in the next lesson.